Hello there, this is Operensis, and I am currently returning from the popular theme park, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. There are two of them, just for context, just explaining. One of them is in California, in Los Angeles, while the other one is in Florida, in Orlando. And so, this video is gonna be a rant. I'm just warning you, it's gonna be a pretty angry rant, but I'm more so not angry, but more so just upset and sad about the situation. And, I'm making this video, first of all, just to express my feelings about it to my fellow Star Wars fans and just generally my followers and supporters, and hopefully get a little bit of sympathy purely because it was quite a devastating situation in many ways for me. Obviously, it's nothing too serious, but it was quite upsetting. And secondly, to speak to the managers and whoever is in charge of the Galaxy's Edge here in Florida, because I think there are many improvements they could potentially make, and I think it is important for them to get some reviews from dedicated fans of the franchise, such as myself. There's a very important backstory here before I explain what exactly happened and what made me so sad. But the backstory, let me explain what happened. The backstory, first of all. So the backstory is that 3 years ago and 1 month ago, I was in Los Angeles. And at that point in Los Angeles, I visited Galaxy's Edge that they have there, and I was extremely excited about it. It was by far my favorite part of that adventure. Well, maybe not the whole adventure, but it was what I was most excited for, and I really came out extremely happy. I was very happy about it, but there was a major issue in it. The major issue is that my father did not allow me to buy all of the items that I wanted. So even though I bought a lot of them, which were very helpful for potentially projects or films or fan films or just videos or just for my general life, Star Wars related items, there were like 5 more which were by far the most important, which I unfortunately did not get to buy because I was not allowed to. And I was very, very disappointed by that. It was very unfortunate, and I was very sad about it. But so I tried to convince my dad, he didn't let me, so that was quite unfortunate. So I decided that I would hopefully return to the park, and when I do return to the park, or alternatively someone goes to it, that I will buy those items that I did not buy the last time around. And it was a very important and very critical part of my journey. Now, the items that I wanted were the following. It was a toy bantha, it was Palpatine's robes, Palpatine's cane, which is a very unique, movie-accurate, authentic, kind of twisted, scary cane, Yoda's movie-accurate cane, and finally a Sith holocron, because a Sith holocron could be very good in terms of MacGuffins for fan films, especially if they're gonna be live action. And so I really wanted all of those items that I just listed about. They were very important to me. The Sith holocron I actually wanted for my 14th birthday, which was coming up at that time. Unfortunately, I did not get it back then because I was not allowed to buy it. So instead, I just walked out, a little disappointed, but hopeful that we will return and buy the ones remaining. And so here, when I went to Orlando here in Florida, one of my main reasons for visiting this park, which I specifically went to this park on this massive trip, and which was by far my most excited part, one of my main reasons for going into the park was to acquire these items that I desperately needed. I was so, my heart was literally racing to get them. I was dying inside. I really wanted to get them. They were very necessary. They were essential. They were really important to me and for my future projects on the channel and in general, many, many private things. And so I was sure that I would acquire them, even though it's a different park, because the park is meant to be a complete clone of the one in Los Angeles. It turned out it wasn't, but I was sure that they would be there because everything else was there and in exactly the same spots. So I went into the park very excited, but then something started happening, and I'll explain how it started and what exactly the problems were. So the first thing that happened is the Rise of the Resistance ride was temporarily closed, which was already very upsetting because I was really looking forward to that ride, especially from what I saw in videos of it, because at the time I was there in Los Angeles, it was not open yet. Only Smuggler's Run was a thing, but that one was not a thing, and I was really excited for it opening, and now it was there, but it was temporarily closed, so I already got very upset. Now, it did open later on, and it was a wonderful experience, but I'm explaining why I was already sad at the time and what happened next that was so worse. Then we went to this bar which sells these purple drinks, these purple lemonades, which I really enjoyed the last time around. I really liked them. And so I wanted to buy this purple lemonade to refresh myself on this wonderful, unique, incredible flavor. I was literally, it was in my mouth when I was walking into the park. I just had a few tasks. Go to the Rise of the Resistance, acquire the items, and drink the drinks. The bar was closed. It was closed entirely. It was temporarily closed. Once again, there was no one at it, and there were no drinks there. I don't know whether this is a real thing that's happening for a while, or if this was just my unlucky day, but the fact of the matter is, I was there for like 2 hours. The drinks were still not there. So that is quite unfortunate, and I was very saddened by it. So then, I went into the shop to acquire the items that I desperately needed. And already I saw a problem, because the Civ Holocrons were entirely out of stock. Literally. And I'm speaking right now to you managers, because I think this is not very poorly done. There was an entire shelf. It was lit. It was red. Definitely the holocrons were there. There was not a single holocron on those like 30 or something shelves. Not a single one. The Jedi were all in stock, but I already have a Jedi one. I needed the Sith one. The Sith, which one of the 5 things I specifically came here for, it was not there. All out of stock, and I think it was that way for a while, because there were 0 of them, but the lighting was still there. It was such a blow to my heart as a passionate Star Wars fan, as a fan of this park, as someone who really needs this for his channel in general, for his everyday life, really. I do need the Star Wars items, as hyperbolized as it sounds. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is sad. Then I went to get Palpatine's robes. And it turned out that the Palpatine's robes that I really desperately wanted were actually just for display, and they weren't actually being sold. Now that was my mistake, because here it's not the park's fault, so don't take this the wrong way. That just upset me a little more, because I mistook it. I thought it was being sold, but then I found a similar Sith robe enough, so I bought that instead. So that wasn't too much of a problem. But then, what else? The canes, the most important part, Yoda's and Palpatine's canes, they were essential. They were the most important. You can't recreate them. They're so unique. They're so specific. They're so well designed. And there were like dozens of them in Los Angeles. And then I came up, there were none of them. There wasn't even an area for them. So I come up to this charming lady, this wonderful, kind employee, and I ask her, where are the canes? Where are the canes, lady? And she says, oh, they're not here. They're only in Los Angeles. They only bring them to the California. They never give us the canes. We don't have them for sale. We never do. And she was quite upset by it too, because she said, I don't understand why, because Orlando, once again, as I thought too, it's for all of these theme parks, for all of these wonderful rides, for all these wonderful parks, and yet for some reason Los Angeles, which isn't really that well known for its parks, has all those wonderful items, many more in fact, all of those canes, and yet Orlando does not have them. To me, it's a shock, and I really needed those canes. I was really looking forward to them. I negotiated with my father beforehand, for months beforehand, just negotiating on what items we'll acquire and the budget and so on. So I was fully looking forward. I was thinking, the canes are gonna be here. No, they were not. The canes were never there to begin with. It was a shock to me. I would never assume in my worst dreams that they would have such a difference with the Los Angeles park. So I was very upset already by the fact that the canes weren't there. And so the only thing that was really left for me was the Bantha. Now, before we go into what happened with the Bantha, let me explain this. I also noticed a lot of the items weren't there. Like, for instance, if you look, Kanan's mask, which is a very important mask that I know is very loved by the fans and was in all of those, it was not there. I also don't believe I saw the Sarlacc in there either, which was like a kind of, it wasn't for sale before, but it was kind of a thing. It was not there. So ultimately, the California park was not only different, but it was miles superior. To me, that was a shock. I thought Orlando would be miles superior because it's so well known for its park. Then I went to the Bantha, like a Bantha. This isn't meant to be funny. I just need to do that. So I went to the Bantha, and I wanted to acquire the Bantha. The Bantha was not there. It was not there. None of those Banthas, which I love so much and which I have a photo with in that park, but I never actually bought. So that was very sad. Then I thought, okay, well, I'll buy the Krykna there. I saw the Krykna being sold on the internet. No, the Krykna aren't there either. And so instead I bought a Gorg from Star Wars Resistance, and I bought a Rathtar, which I was very happy about, but at the same time it's not what I wanted. And the Canes being missing and the Holocron are by far a terrible blow to my heart. It was very sad, it was very unfortunate. I was very devastated by it, incredibly devastated in fact. Now, what else? Well, that was all very unfortunate. Now before I get onto the good parts, because you gotta leave it with a bit of positivity so that you don't come down entirely frowned. But just for context, I truly do recommend the Los Angeles park miles more than the Florida one. The Florida one is in many ways a disaster in regards to it. No, it's true. I think it's a disaster in that regard, because I think not having those items is a big problem. And not only that, the Los Angeles one is just much larger. You know, the one where they have the First Order shuttle, that is much larger, and the stage is much higher, and there's much more space. The Florida one is smaller. I did not expect this. I thought it would be miles superior and with more items and larger. I was wrong. And yeah, so it's not in my recommendation to you to visit the Florida one. Definitely I prefer Los Angeles, and I do want to speak to the managers. I do ask you to please consider improving on these aspects. As a Star Wars fan, as someone who really needs these items, as someone who's willing to give you my money for these products, I would very, very much appreciate if you added them, or if you in some way, at least, I know many people won't buy them, but I think they will, actually. If the Civ Holocrons were out of stock, I think enough people will buy the Canes. Especially with how many fans I saw going into that park. I think they will. And especially if they're so bought in Los Angeles. And so I truly do recommend that you add the Canes. And the second thing that I wanted to say is that, okay, so the Canes. Okay, well, now let me just add in another little rant in here, just because I got the opportunity to do so. Firstly, oh my goodness, I forgot completely about this. This I also need to tell you. The monkey lizards, they only had the brown color, Salacious B. Crop. No Pilf McMuck, the blue one, which thankfully I acquired both of those before, but to not see the blue one, which is like a trademark of this park, is pretty shocking to me. But also, let me just add into the rant while we're at it, that yesterday I was at Krispy Kreme. I specifically went so far down Miami, just into that shop. I went there specifically to buy those donuts, and I really wanted the carrot flavor, because in Moscow we never had the carrot flavor to begin with, and I was really looking forward to them, because the last time I was in Miami, that was 8 years ago, I bought them all the time. I loved them. I still have pictures. I showed them even to the lady who was selling them. They no longer have the carrot flavor, so that was a disaster. But anyways, back to the topic. So yes, to finish off, please do consider making matters a little better, people who are running the theme park in Orlando. I think there's a great opportunity. I really enjoyed it. It was very fun, but I think there are many, many things you can improve on. And I think getting those items is very important, because now I have to order them off some Amazon, of someone who bought them and is really selling them for a higher price or something. That is not pleasant, but I really did need those items, so this was an opportunity to do so. I did not get them. That was unfortunate. Now, but the positives. The positives was the Rise of the Resistance ride. It was very fun. It was very interactive. I think the crew did a splendid job. I think it was very well planned, very well not choreographed, very well set up, very well organized. When it did open, it was very fun. It was a very fun ride. Star Tours, I also was nearby. I didn't even know about it here. It was also extremely fun. It was very interesting, and all of the mannequins, everything, it was very realistic. It was very fun. But please do improve on your item collection. Thank you.